Hey guys, Pickle700 here, and in today's video, I'm going to be doing a full fire alarm test on the new fire alarm panel because I did this on the old MS4, but I have been requested to do it on the new Notifier SFP10UD, and I have done a full fire alarm system test since installing this panel to make sure everything's working correctly, but I didn't do it on YouTube, so today we will be doing that. As you can see, garage fire alarm system, all normal. I have the time and date set correctly, no troubles. Go ahead and open up our panel. So now to do the test, I'm going to begin with a walk test. So basically, if you don't know, what a walk test is every time you set off an igniting device, such as a pulse station, smoke detector, heat detector, duct detector, any igniting device that basically makes the alarms go off. Once you activate that device, the panel will recognize it as an alarm, sound the signals, whatever those are, for a short period of time, under probably 5 seconds, and then silence it and automatically reset the system, and then you can go through and look at what device is activated. So to do this on this panel, you have to hit mode, and then you have to go to programming mode, which is number 2, which I think is actually kind of silly that you have to go into programming just to do a walk test, but that's okay. Factory default password is 5 zeros. So then, now that we're in here, we can scroll down, go to a walk test, so hit number 1. So now we have a few options. Turned off the lights in here. I think that might make the display a little bit easier to see. So we have silent, audible, and view results. So we're going to go with audible walk test so we can hear the alarms go for a second. So we have to hit number 2. So now you can see unit in walk test, and you get a trouble whenever the system's in walk test. So now because it's in walk test, we do have a trouble. So because there's a trouble in walk test, the piezo will sound for just a little bit every maybe 10 seconds. It's not as constant as a normal trouble. So we can start with our pulse stations. First, let's turn the lights back on. So as you can see, there's no break glass in this pulse station, so we can actually pull this one. Now we can... There we go. So, pulse station's reset, we can close it up. Something interesting about walk test is it doesn't do code 3, it just does a continuous tone. It also bypasses a relay, therefore the fire doors don't close. Okay, we can go to this pulse station now that's behind here. Now, if this was in a building, this would not be okay, being it's not accessible, so let's move this thing. There we go. There we go. Okay, and here we have our last pulse station. This one, as you can see, has the brake rod in, so I'm not going to be pulling it. That low frequency sounder is actually pretty loud. I have these 2 cans of smoke check right here. I think this one's a little bit more empty. We're going to use this one to use it up. Now let's start in the bathroom back here. Nice and bright with those new recessed lights. Doesn't take too much, that should be enough. Just wait a bit for the lights to go red. There it is. There we go. Now this one might re-alarm, hopefully it doesn't. I don't think it's going to re-alarm, but we actually have to do another test with this one, because this one has a heat detector element in it, but we'll do that one in a little bit. So for a reference, so you know where I just came from, there's the bathroom. Now over here by our fire alarm panel, up here we have a smoke detector right here. There it goes. Okay, I just waved a book by this one, so I think all of the smoke is out of it. So now, going over here, up to the high part of the ceiling, we have an i3. i3 is probably one of the best conventional detectors, at least for firelight and notifier panels that support this detector. It's really good because it has maintenance that can come up on the panel instead of just going into an alarm. If it senses it's dirty, it won't go straight into alarm, making it a little bit better for preventing false alarms. I just think it's a pretty good detector, easy to wire, and nice and simple. Here it is. Now you can test this detector by sticking a metal object into that little hole in the side, which will put it into alarm, but I don't think it's a very good test because it doesn't verify that the smoke chamber is working. Should be plenty. Wait for that red light to go. There it goes. And yes, this is a removable detector, which is also a feature I like about the i3 because it makes it easier to wire without this thing dangling there. Go ahead and blow this out. Okay, that was weird. That went into a full alarm, so I guess whenever you take a device off while you're in walk test and the panel gets another trouble other than walk test, it will go into full alarm. So that was weird. Low frequency sounder went into full alarm, but it stayed on continuous, and I just put some tape over it to make it a little bit quieter. So that was weird, but there definitely is no smoke in here, so I can go ahead and put that up. That's good to know. I'm sorry for my neighbors. I had to listen to that for a while with me running around because silence would not silence it on the panel, so I had to find a screwdriver and take the device off, but this is back to normal. We know it works. Okay, definitely done with the smoke check for now. Now we can put the panel back into walk test because I was running around resetting it, trying everything. So now I mentioned that this one has a heat detector element in it, and now it's only fixed temperature. I don't think there's any rate of rise because it's not a chamber type heat detector. But I do have something that works good for testing these. It's back here, just about lost it. It's this. It's almost like a hair dryer, but a lot hotter and more, and it has a very fine point of heat. Okay, that's that detector tested. So now, for those of you that pay very close attention to my system and how I have it set up, you remember that there was a heat detector there very momentarily. It probably wasn't there for any more than a month, and that's because when I changed the system, it was going around this wall and out there where the other one went through for the rest of the system. So its conduit's still there, but I've taken everything out and doesn't really need to be there. So you can take the system out of walk test. Piezo on this panel is really loud. It's funny, it's actually louder than my old panel piezo and sounds a little bit different. Okay, so now I'm going to go around and make sure all the devices are working by putting it into a real alarm. And there is even more tape over there because that sounder is actually really loud. Some people might think that because it's low frequency it's less loud, but just the pitch is a little deeper. The loudness is just as loud as any other Spectral Alert Advance. Acknowledge this. So our sounder works, that strobe works, same with this strobe. Same with this strobe, we'll check our two outside ones. This outside strobe right here works, as well as this strobe. Other thing is, our fire door did close. Fire alarm zone 1 pulse station. So as you saw earlier, to reset these, you have to put a screwdriver in here. These are a pain, some of these, because they have this tamper-resistant screw. It takes just a normal flat screwdriver, but you might be able to tell it's kind of not one flat. It's called tamper-resistant. It's just a little bit harder. Put our switch down to right there where it says normal. So then you can't just close it like this. You have to push this flat. There we go. And at this point, we can reset our fire alarm system. We have a few other tests to make. One of those is checking for ground fault recognition. Basically, that the panel senses a ground fault. So, I can clip this onto anything. I'll just clip it onto, I think that's the negative of one of the zones right there on that terminal block. And we can connect this to literally any grounded thing. Like if we connect it to even this electrical panel, believe it or not, this electrical panel right here, this key on it right here, ground fault. I think that's super cool. If you connect it to this conduit connector right here, I just think that's super cool how basically any grounded thing, this panel is sensitive enough to get it all the way back to the panel of the ground fault. I think that's pretty cool. Our next test we're going to make is our battery voltage right here to make sure these batteries are still good. They're just over a year old, but still good to check them. So unplug the battery, make sure we do get a trouble. So now these panels, I'm pretty sure they get a low battery at around 20 volts. It's like 20.4 volts or something that they get a low battery trouble. And then they get a dead battery trouble at I think it's 17 volts or less. A good set of batteries is around 26 to 27 volts. 27 volts is how much voltage should be coming out of a brand new set of batteries, because you should be getting about 13.4, 13.6, somewhere in there, volts out of each battery. Even though they say 12 volts, good batteries normally about 13 point something, and then with two of them you double your voltage, and then obviously you get 24 or 27 volts because they're in series. So to meter it, I keep this is my meter that I use most of the time, but it's not super sensitive. It can't get sometimes off by 1 or 2 volts, which is fine for when you're dealing with 120, 240. Any line voltage that you find in a building, it works perfectly fine for that, but not for super low voltages where you want it to the decimal. So I have another meter over here. Got a new couch for the shed, which is good. Right here, it's not a super high quality nice meter, but it's a lot more precise. So I will set this to 200 volts DC, since 20 volts DC wouldn't be high enough, so 200 is what we have to go to. So now there's these little pins right here that you can put the probe onto. And we have 26.8 volts, so they're not brand new batteries, and they've been through a few discharges and recharges, so that makes sense. That's about right. And we can test each battery too. I'm going to take these batteries actually out of the panel to do that. They're decently heavy. So now I'm gonna get rid of this jumper right here. I'm going to meter each battery individually, and now to get a more precise reading, we can go to 20 volts since each battery is going to be under 20 volts. .47, so that's pretty good right there. I know these are both good since they're over 24 volts. 13.4, so very, very close. So now there isn't really any other tests I could do. I think that's about it, other than no power test, but I'm not exactly sure how you do a load test for a system. But as you can see, battery backup does work. If I can get this key and this tamper resistant switch. AC fault. So, battery backup does work. I'm not sure how long it would work for this system, but it's a very small system. I know you can do a load test on the batteries with different things, but I'm not sure how you do them. If anybody knows, please let me know. This panel must take a lot more current when a transformer first comes on, because all the lights in here dim down a little bit, so there obviously is a voltage drop, meaning that this is taking some current to start back up, versus my old panel never did that. So I think that is about it, all we can do. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you, new exit sign right here. New Running Man exit sign. I was gonna make a video of it, but I started getting really mad because it wasn't working good and kinda was not in a good mood, so that didn't happen. This one's still the same. I would eventually like to replace this one with a Running Man since they're what you require here in Canada, so that would be nice, but it's alright for now. Anyways guys, that's about it for this video, so if you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit the thumbs up button, and if you have any comments, make sure to leave those down in the comment section below. And if you have any videos you'd like to see in the future, also make sure to put those in the comment section below. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching.